I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Typewriter from Fowers Games. Typewriter is a 2 to 4 player word building game, which is not that atypical for what Fowers Games puts out, to have done paperback, hardback, paperback adventures, and now we have Typewriter as well. This is a rapid fire review, a format where I try to teach you the game and give you my thoughts and opinions in 10 minutes or less, and we generally see if I make that cutoff or not. So, in paperback, you're going to be playing across 9 rounds. That is, if you want to play a 9-round game, you can tweak it by just handling the number of event cards in the game. For right now, I have 9 over here, so let's go ahead and reveal the first event. The first event says, if your word has the same letter twice, fill your meter by 3. We'll talk more about that in a second, but the first thing to know is ultimately in this game, you are trying to build the biggest words. Now, there's a way you actually score points, but if you just focus on building a good word and then kind of watching the rest come into play, it'll all work out nicely. And to that end, the player aids very nicely have everything you need on these 2 cards in front of you. We have the round order and then the icons in the game, and if you're playing on the asymmetric sides, you have the asymmetric icons for your particular player board, but we can ignore those for right now. So, first things first, let's go ahead and spell our word. Now again, I'll walk you through what I'm doing why, but let's start by spelling a word. We have this common letter in the middle, this vowel, common vowel, everyone can use that. These are the pool where we can buy our new tokens from to be able to add to our pool, and this is our personal pool, of which we're going to go ahead and use the word T-E, so we're going to leave a space over there, N-N-E-R. So we're going to use those particular letters to be able to build our word, which is tenor, a T-E-N-N-E-R. Now, we could, just for the record, this is where we're going to get a little picky over here. Tenor is slang. It's a slang word for a 10. Like, can I have a tenor, governor? Depending on which dictionary you use, it may or may not be in there because it's on the internets. I don't know if you'll count it, but I'll let you decide that. But I specifically am doing tenor and not tenor, because I could do tenor, like, you know, singing voice and all that, but I specifically want, actually, no, never mind. I'm going to do tenor. We'll do tenor, because I'm going to use that N twice anyway, because I'm looking at this over here. So, we have tenor, T-E-N-N-O-R, just to make sure we're on the safe side of things, and we're going to go ahead and count up the numbers in the corner, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's going to be moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We move up this chart 5 because of the numbers utilized in our words. These 2 wilds, unfortunately, don't have anything on them, so while they give us flexibility, they don't actually allow us to score anything on this meter. But if your word has the same letter twice, those double N's, we can fill your meter by 3. So we're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, bumping us up to 8. That's very important because now we get to step 3. So we've done step 2, we filled our meter. Step 3, use your meter. You can use any ability of different colors, but each color once. So for example, I'm currently covering the star, which lets me star a banked key, which will make sense soon. We have this one over here to claim a key from the bag, which I could do, but we're gonna let this build a little bit longer, and I'll show you why. And if I had gone higher, I could use multiple abilities, but only one of each color. We're going to flip our word, so we're going to flip this like so. Okay, that's going to be flipped. Everything in the word is going to be flipped. Everything not in the word will not be. And then we claim a key, so we're going to go ahead and gather one of these keys over here. And let's go ahead and gather this red key over here. We want that B on the other side, and we'll refill the pool. That's round 1. That's it. That's all you need to know. Well, you need to know a little more. So let's go ahead and go into round 2, because round 2 is going to be very important. Again, remember, this plays out across 9 rounds unless you alter the game length. Event 2 comes out. If your word has multiple keys with 4 plus value, fill your meter by 5. That's going to be hard given the board here, so I don't think we're going to get this round, but let's go ahead and repeat that process, keeping in mind we've flipped our words so we have new numbers, new letters in play. So, once again, we'll try to do it. I'm going to try to go as fast as possible. I'm not going to try to focus on maximizing here because I want to teach you the game, although I will say if you do manage to get a word that has 9 letters or more, you will claim this central key, and you'll be able to take it and immediately bank it, and that will leave a new pile of which letter, which vowel is left at the end. But I can't right now, so we're not going to do that. So, without spending too much time on it, we have the C, we have the H, we're going to put a fictional H over here, we're going to do cheats over here. Okay, he cheats on his test. And we're going to put the C-H-E-A-T-S. I'm going to also cash this in to claim a key from the bag. Let's see if I actually get anything interesting, because it gives us at any point on your turn. Ooh, I did get that. Ooh, that could. How do I want to incorporate that? I'm not going to incorporate it because I probably should, but I'm not trying to teach you the game right now. It would be great if we could incorporate that AL in there. This has been used, so we can't use it this turn. We have these as our flexibility, but again, we won't right now, even though I kind of want to. It is what it is. So I just do stall. We're gonna do it because getting that in play is actually very, very helpful. So we're gonna do stalled, S-A-L-E-D. So we did stalled, okay? Stalled, S-T-A-L-L-E-D. That's our word over there. Beautiful, slightly better. And then we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, moving up from 8 over here to 14. And now we're going to go to step 3, where we're going to use our meter. When we use our meter, we're going to choose different abilities of color. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one over here, bank a key in your ward. This is the primary you're going to be scoring points. I'm going to take that AL, I'm going to put it in the bank over here, at which point it's worth 3 points. If I can move it over to the star area, it'll also be worth its additional 2 star points over there, but I'm not doing that yet. Looking at these over here, I can claim a temporary wild, or I can add a key to the offer. I'm going to take a temporary wild. That'll give me a lot of flexibility. I'll be able to use that and cash it in on a future turn, and it's actually worth a point while giving me flexibility. You can have maximum 3 at one time. I then go to my ward, I flip it. We unfortunately did not get to do that, and then I go ahead and claim a new key from the pool. We'll claim that one and put a new one in place. That is basically how you're going to play through Typewriter. You're going through 9 rounds of building a ward, filling your meter, cashing in for the abilities, which will often include banking keys that were in your word. Then you'll go ahead and flip your word so you have a new puzzle of what letters are available to you. And finally, you'll claim a key to build your ever-expanding pool. Do that across 9 rounds, see who has the most points, and that is how you play Typewriter. Which brings us to the rapid-fire review part. Am I keeping this game? Starting off with, no, I will not be keeping this game. Why or why not? So this one's a little bit more nuanced. The first thing I'll say is, in general, I don't believe I have any word games in my collection. I've enjoyed a few more than others. I would say Paperback Adventures in particular, Illiterati. Those are both games that I've really enjoyed in the word building genre, but ultimately I think that as much as I do enjoy playing through word building games, I don't think that the fact that none of them have actually lasted forever in my collection, like nothing in all my hundreds of games, none of them are actually word games, means that I think that I enjoy them, but they aren't top, they aren't like best in class for me. Again, Paperback Adventures and Illiterati, they were up there, but in general I think I enjoy the process of playing word games, but they aren't the best of the best for me personally. But to take it one step further, I also think Typewriter isn't even best in class within the word game genre. I've enjoyed other games more so, almost I'd say a good chunk of the word games I've played have been better than what Typewriter does, at least for me. Which brings us to other similar games I've talked about loosely already, but Paperback in general, not Paperback Adventures, that's a different game, but Paperback is going to be a game that's very similar to Typewriter. It's the original Pat Fowers game word game, of which they then had Hardback and Paperback Adventures, and now Typewriter. There may be another one. I think there's an Area Control. There's another one that I'm forgetting offhand, but there are a bunch of these word games that have spawned from this, but Paperback is going to be one of the originals. They just had their 10-year anniversary edition, which is probably the better version to pick up if you want it. And then Illiterati from Gap Closer Games is a cooperative word building game. Those are both games I definitely recommend you check out if you like word building games. As far as the counter opinion, this one isn't for me. I think that it's To me, I think this is not best in class within the word game genre, particularly because the flipping mechanic in general isn't enough to keep me invested, and past that, you're just going through 9 rounds of slowly building a pool, not always seeing what letters are available, and you usually don't have that much scoring going on as well. Like, you don't have a ton of scoring happening in this game. You'll bank a few letters, you'll star a few more, and at the end of 9 rounds, you'll have done a lot, but not necessarily felt like you scored a lot. Which brings us to the counter opinion, because I'm just explaining the prior opinion a bit more. The counter opinion is, at the end of the day, this is fairly fast moving as far as games go. The 9 rounds keeps it limited in scope. I do find that having all your letters available as opposed to having a deck building mechanic does remove the bad luck of a bad draw. There still is bad luck of what's available in terms of what's flipped at any point, but you do have more control and agency over that, and as your pool grows larger and larger, there'll be less of an expectation to use everything, to maximize everything. So there are things that keep this moving faster at a brisker pace than some other word games, which has historically been one of the problems I have with word games, that they can really slow down to a crawl as players try to get everything they can out of every single word. I do find that this does seem to avoid that problem with the players. Players just build the best word they can, they utilize abilities, and they get what they need going. So I do think this is faster paced, while not necessarily being the better game, if that makes sense. As far as final thoughts on Typewriter, I think Typewriter is not a bad game, but to me it is Paperback but worse. The biggest thing it has going for it is the fact that it does move at a brisker pace, but I do find the original rule set itself is a little bit more confusing than I'd like. Like, I can teach this game to people, but the actual process of learning the game, a lot of it's not really straight up intuitive as far as how things go, and then the fact that you really don't get a lot done in the game as you're playing through things. You don't bank and star that many chips, which definitely limits how much you're actually doing. Again, you're doing a lot, but the reward for what you're doing feels like it's much less so as you go through it. Overall, for me, this is a 3 out of 5. I didn't mind it, but it didn't hook me the way other word games at least get a little further in that process. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you found this review helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.